Hey everyone, this is Dr. Monica Du, a pediatrician, homeschool mom, and homesteader, keeper of my home. And today I'm excited to go over my family's homeschool curriculum selections. I've been homeschooling now for about 5 years. I'm quite particular in the curriculum that I choose oftentimes because of my busy schedule and wanting to make sure that I tailor the curriculum according to my children's needs. I really do spend a good amount of time researching and going over things that I feel would be helpful, yet simple and effective. So in today's video, I'll be showing you our selections for this school year for elementary, middle school, and high school. Come on and join me. Hey you guys, so the first thing for my homeschool curriculum is building the foundation for my children, and the Bible and them getting to know who their creator in heaven is my number one priority. I want them to walk with him and to know him now in their younger years and all throughout the rest of their lives. So I make sure that in all my planning, that Bible is the very first of the subjects. Even if I'm not able to get through everything, the priority is always making sure that they are in the hearing of his word and reading the scriptures to them. So as I plan, I make sure that Bible is always first and foremost the top of my list, and we start our day out with that. And we go through the Bible, and we've been going through the Bible and making sure that we are continuously going and reading through until we get all the way to the end and then back again. So I have my Bible that we use, and then in addition to that, I'm making sure that they are also aware of others that have gone on before us in faith and in sacrifice. And so what I do is make sure that they are in the hearing also of some good missionary stories that can teach them those values and morals that I would like for them to know. So I went ahead and developed for my elementary, middle, and high schooler a plan where we'll be going over multiple biographies of missionaries and faithful servants that came before us. And we primarily will be using the YWAM books, and I'll show you one sample of it. Right now we're reading through Francis Asbury, and so the Christian Heroes Then and Now is published through YWAM, and we're going to be going through multiple of these. And what I have done here is went ahead and developed a guide for us as we're going to go throughout the year, and we're going to be covering at least 16 of these Christian heroes. And then what I have done is made sure I put these in chronological order, because this is also going to tie into our history and geography, which I'll show you in a little bit. For my older students, I would like for them to have some essay prompts from the readings that we'll be going through, and I have made it so that we have different topics. So the topics may be spanning from leadership, historical analysis, pioneering vision, faith, cultural aspects, missions, and then so many others. And so these are just essay prompts that I have developed, but If my students don't want to do these prompts, it just at least gives them an idea in the category that I want them to touch upon. So if they didn't, for example, want to answer the specific question here, they should still follow the topical headline so that I have exposed them to different writing genres, different writing styles, different writing viewpoints that they can grow from. So this is actually not only a part of our Bible studying, but it's also going to serve as an elective credit for my high schooler. So this can actually double for Bible, for literature, history, writing. So that makes it so that it is quite multifaceted. So you can always choose when you're doing your curriculum what you would like your subject to entail. So that's what we're going to be doing in addition to our first and foremost subject, which is Bible. Next subject will be history and geography. So history and geography is always so intriguing to me. I love learning about our historical happenings. I love learning about the world and where people live and just how we fit in that whole scheme of things and His plan. So this first resource here is called Building Geography Skills for Life, and it's from the Glencoe Publishing Company. This one is actually one that you can print off, and you have the opportunity to use it alongside a teacher's guide that comes with it. And I'll just pop up a little picture of that guide so that you can see it. But I do like this one because it goes through, as you can see in the table of contents, multiple areas regarding geography and mapping. And I think it's so important for us to have an idea and teach our students about the world and where things are. Some of us don't know, honestly, where certain geographical locations are, where certain countries are. We may not even have some good solid foundation of our own place that we live in. So teaching our children about geography, maps, just the world in general, culture, physical aspects of the world and the earth, continents, it's so very important and useful as a life skill. So I'll just give you a little flip through of how this looks. This is the student work text, and I just printed it off, and I'm going to go ahead and bind it. And if you ever want to see how you laminate, which I did here for the cover, if you'd like to see how you do that and how you bind it, I have a video where I went through that so that you can get an idea. It's very easy and it's cost saving so that you don't have to bring it to any of the big box chains to go ahead and have them to bind for you. But it's pretty guided and broken down into the different aspects of maps, the continents, the world, from the northeastern to western, southern, and more. Then we'll go on further into our history. So I use multiple resources for history, and I have found that just having just a simple spine book such as this one, which is World History Detective, can be quite useful, and this is for grades 6 to 12. This is also very simple, and I like curriculum that helps to double for more than one thing. This one gives them some simple readings to do, and then some activities that help them to dig out the context clues after they've read the information, which is preparing them for higher levels SAT taking and other tests that they may go ahead and encounter later on in life. So I like that it's quite simple. It's set up with giving you the information here in a simple and concise format. It's not very heavy and dry of a text. I always like using what we call living books, and so what I'll do here is just get the simple information in this broken down format and then add other historical text to it that we find to be useful and lively and engaging. But this is just to give you a little idea of how this critical thinking company text works. So for language arts, there are quite a few pieces because language arts has many different factors to it and components. Many of our words stem from the Greek and Latin language. So in these resources, it goes ahead and takes you through many of those roots. So by the time we finish these 2 volumes, we'll have gotten through at least 200 of the roots. And remember what I mentioned about curriculum doubling? So this is also a helpful one because not only does it strengthen vocabulary for your language arts components, but it also helps in the preparation and study for the SATs or just in life, because oftentimes you may come across a word that you may not know, but if you know the root word, that will help you to figure out what the definition is. So as you can see here, there are green cards here that are pictured and red. So green is for the Greek and red is for the Latin. And it goes through the root word and different examples of how the root words are used in specific words. And then it also has some teaching notes on the bottom and interesting information, I find, that you can go ahead and teach your students. So what I'll be doing is I have gotten each of my students a box like this where you can keep your index cards in, and then as we go through the roots, we're going to go ahead and store those cards in here, and then they can have just an easy reference that they can go back to over and over again and use even as a study guide for them over time. So this is going to help in the preparation of vocabulary and strengthening those language skills that will help them to prepare for standardized testing such as SATs. Next, we have grammar for language arts, and grammar can be quite challenging for many students, many of us, and sometimes it can just be so heavily laden and burdensome. So I found this curriculum called Rules of the Game. It has 1, 2, and 3 volumes that we'll be going through. It takes a gentle pace, and I'll show you the first one here for volume 1. It has just some very simple and short lessons, concise information going over the multiple word parts, and I'll show you the contents. So for example, in volume 1, nouns, pronouns, verbs, subjects, capitalization, and so forth, all the way down. And then it gives the students some context information so that they can understand the definitions and the different types of parts of the English language. I also find it helpful to do some sentence diagramming, and we'll be doing that as well. But first, we'll cover these aspects here so that we have a good foundation, and we may even add it in so that we can do it at the same time. It just depends on how the year goes. And that is the beauty of homeschooling. You can tailor things according to your students' needs. You can go faster or slower. Next up, I add wordly wise according to the levels of my children. And for some, I go up and some I go down. And it's just in accordance to their ability and skill level. So wordly wise is a direct academic vocabulary instruction, as it says here. And it's quite familiar to many people, and you may be familiar with it already. So with the wordly wise, again, this has helped me to double my efficiencies because it helps them to go over the vocabulary, as you can see, in each lesson, and then it breaks it down into some subcomponents that help to test their abilities in the understanding of the vocabulary that they have been given. And it goes from components or sections of A, B, C, D, and E, and then it repeats that pattern. What I like about it and how I use it, and I can go into a more in-depth video, is I actually go ahead and read the information, read the vocabulary in context for each of my students actually, and that way I'm making sure that one, I'm scanning and going through the content, because some of the resources that I'm using is not necessarily from a Christian worldview. It's more of a broad general worldview, and so it helps me to go ahead and make sure that I am in the know of what content they are reading, and it helps them again to hear the reading so that they can then go back on their own and digest it to answer the questions and understand the words in context. Again, it's also going to help them prepare for their SATs as they move on in the grade levels. So I find that to be quite helpful as another additional tool for our language arts. The Wordly Wise also comes with its own answer keys, and then there's test booklets too. And specifically our English component, our writing, I'll be using the Excellence in Literature curriculum, and I'm tailoring it according to what I would like my students to view and read. So some of the book selections in here, I wouldn't necessarily choose. And let's see if I can show you a little snapshot of it. So it has English 1, Intro to Literature, English 2, Literature and Composition, English 3, American Literature, English 4, British Literature, and English 5 will take your student up on through into the high school years and into the different components that are often required of them to have for a standard English writing composition class. This curriculum uses the aspect of good books, some classic books, to serve as the platform and prompt for the writing process. And the children are guided with information from the beginning on how they should think about writing, how they can understand reading well, taking information down, and it also draws in different components, whether it be through looking up things on a video, through other resources. It really wants them to take a deep dive into the books that they are reading and kind of just immerse themselves into it so that they can really gain an enjoyable experience with the books that are selected, and also move away from it having learned something that can actually even stick with them throughout their lives. So it's a guided curriculum. It wants them to be independent, and it gives them a schedule that they can follow for the different books and how they can then use the different resources from one week to the next. It also comes with the handbook that you can also get, which gives them some models and resources and a guide that they can use now and even into college for their writing processes, and how different types of papers are formatted. And it can be just quite helpful to know and have experience with that if they're planning on doing college level writing courses. So as I mentioned, I don't select all of the books here. We'll be choosing some of our own, but we'll be using this guide as a scaffold so that we have some ideas about how we can approach the different literature topics and aspects. And then I just copy out one that I can use here for each different level, and it just makes it easy to have everything ready here at a quick glance. So this can be used for your middle school and high school students. And then for math, so as you can see here, all the different levels. We have volume 1, basic operations, and then it comes with a worksheet book if you'd like to add additional information and resources. And I'll be going over a more thorough review of this curriculum in a separate video. It's got volume 2, fractions, decimals, and percentages, volume 3, pre-algebra, volume 4, basic geometry, volume 5, algebra 1, volume 6, applications of algebra, and the final volume 7, high school geometry. So by the time you're finished with these, you can have completed all of the math levels that you need from elementary school and upwards. It is very simple, and as you can see here from the title, Learn Math Fast really does help you to solidify those foundational math skills that you need, but in a simple way, and actually does help you learn the math concepts quickly because it's not bogged down with a lot of fluff or extra information or detail that sometimes is not quite helpful when you're just needing to know those basic skills. So we have just started using this one this year, and I'm using it with multiple levels, and it has really been helpful for us thus far. It also comes with some helpful tools that you can use for the different levels, and some helpful cards and information that you can use for different levels. Another math program that I have found to be a very big help and enjoyable for my student is Denison Algebra. My student has already been going through the pre-algebra level, and she has really enjoyed it, and she's doing very well in it. And the next one will be Algebra 1. It is very simple, video-based. Mr. Denison is on the videos teaching the students the information, and he's just very understandable, and he meets you where you are, and he goes through the concepts in a very detailed, interesting, and informative way. I enjoy listening to the lessons as well in the background as my daughter does it at times, and I found that if I had him as a math teacher myself when I was in high school, that I would have definitely been well served with the way that he teaches the concepts. So as you can see here, it doesn't have a lot of information on the page to make the math confusing or overwhelming, but enough so that you have enough practice as you move onward in the levels. And he goes ahead and works the problems out for you too on the video, so the student can go ahead and do the problems, review those answers on the video, and then they also have the solution manual that comes. So this is the student textbook. It's quite thick, actually, very thick math book here, and then solution manual, and then you have your parent guide and test booklet here. So what I do is take it out and then I put it in a binder, and then I keep it off to the side so that whenever my student is ready, she'll go ahead and take the test, and then I can just quickly go ahead and grade the test. So I'll open this one up so that you can see some of the information here that will be in the parent guide. Very easy to use, and I have enjoyed using it. It has been actually one of my favorite ones to use for the upper level. So you see here, it's broken down into the different chapters. And then you have different tests that you can use, and it has two different forms, Form A and Form B. And then when you turn to the back, it has all the answers nicely broken down, which I really enjoy. Everything detailed and written out so that you can catch if there were any errors, any mistakes, and just be guided through the solution of each and every one of the problems. Very, very helpful. And then last here, for now, we have our science. Our science also has quite a few options that I like to use from living books to help to give us more information and just interesting details that you may not necessarily get in your curriculum. This one was chosen after we had already started one of the popular science curriculum, but found that it was just quite dry, and with my background already with having a biology degree and the health and medicine, my students already know quite a few of the details already, and we wanted to just make sure that it was a little bit more interesting and friendly to them, actually, so that they could enjoy the lessons and still learn quite a bit. Interestingly, for me, I have also enjoyed this thus far. The author actually has background in veterinary medicine, as you can see here, as well as his wife, and it seems to me that they do live in a setting where they have animals under their care, and they oftentimes incorporate that also too in the readings from what I can see thus far, which was very helpful and interesting for my children. Being on our own homestead and taking care of animals, is quite nice to have some information from someone that has that background and incorporates it into the lessons. This curriculum also comes with a video component, which we also enjoy so far, and even dissections and labs. So this is a high school course that can help your student get the information down, but in a nice kind of gradual and interesting manner. And then you can also even tie in your other students, which is what I do oftentimes with the curriculum. And again, I just tailor it in accordance to what their levels are. But we are really enjoying this curriculum so far. It comes with the textbook aspect. It comes with the lesson tests and answers book, and then it comes with the student. Nice, easy to see manner, and very informative and even fun, because as you can see here, it incorporates some puzzles and information such as that. And what we're going to also be doing is the online 3D anatomy to add another layer of fun to it. In addition to, of course, we'll be seeing some dissections on the videos, and living on Homestead, we also get to see quite a few things already on our home with our animals and so forth. So it just helps to boost what they already know and give some extra depth and detail. For electives, we're going to go ahead and continue with our piano lessons, and we incorporate that with some online resources that we have liked so far, and we just tailor the lessons in accordance to the music styles that we like. We'll also be doing personal fitness, and let me tell you, if you can, try and incorporate their personal fitness into your own routine, your own wellness routine, whether it be taking a walk or a jog with your students, or even playing something like tennis or badminton. We love doing that together. It helps you to build stronger relationships and keeps you all fit, well, and healthy. I hope this video was helpful for you, and I will see you again soon.